Hi, I'm Kristen with an E, and this is Talk with Kristen with an E, a place to slow down, be honest without having all the answers, and feel a little less alone together. Let's talk it out. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. So excited to have one of my favorite guests here again with us. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Kristen.
Yay. So Emily and I have been talking about several topics that we'd want to talk about and back and forth. What are we going to do first and which one? And the one that we kind of brought up last week that I think is super good to talk about right now is, well, I don't know. How would you describe what we're about to talk about? Because we have words for it, but like
playing the role of somebody that you think you are, but you don't think that person is authentically you.
You're wearing a costume and performing for people on stage is kind of what we're talking about, and how we kind of got there or get away from there, the direction we're going, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. I've got some of my notes here. You've got your notes. All right. So how would you define competence as a costume if we're looking at that performing versus being yourself? Like how would you explain it to someone?
So kind of like your skills becoming more than the person that you are.
Ooh. Skills are more important than you are. See, because I've thought of it like that, but a little bit different. So for me, I almost feel like I'm playing a role in front of people. Like I was in theater a lot, so you're, whatever. But then when you're on stage and the lights are on, you become this person. And I feel like a lot of my time has been that. A lot of my younger years until like last year when I decided I wasn't going to do it anymore, feel like I have to be what people want me to be, what they want me to be, but what I think they want me to be. I'll be the smart girl, be the good girl. And then as I became later, to your skills point, it's like, be the good worker, be the responsible. I mean, I still am those things, but it's almost like I elevate it and put it out even more.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that performing piece comes. So what does it feel like, when you're talking about the skills kind of overplaying what you think you are? Like, how does that feel for you, and how do you think it looks to people externally?
A lot of times I think I think people think that person has all their stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
They're really going above and beyond of what somebody is expecting of them. Internally, though, you could be really drained while doing that because, again, you're putting out this false performance or elevating your skills in front of people. You're acting one way, and then in private, you're just kind of just existing.
Yes. And it almost feels like there's that disconnect of what's really going on and what you're portraying. Again, for the theater thing, it's almost like I can turn it off and on. Like it's sitting in my office at work, just like you said, mentally drained, just fried. And then somebody will pop in my door and they'll be like, hey, Kristen. And suddenly it's like, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? And then I'm all about learning how they're doing, how everything is. And then as soon as they leave again, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, that breath. It's more of a heavy than a relief.
Right. And it's like, I love engaging with people, but then when they walk away, it's like, was I just being fake? But at the same time, you feel the pressure that you have to do it, because when people stop by, if they're like, hey, Kristen, how's it going? And you're like, hey, really, really crappy day. Whatever. Nobody wants that version of you. And it's being able to balance what's going on inside and still being there for other people. But then where's that balance, and when are you going over too much, or I don't know. But can you share any examples of maybe when you realized you were performing more than you were being yourself?
I think so. Kind of the biggest thing for me is because of the job that I have. We have a recital. While I'm on stage, talking on the microphone, that is an over exaggerated. Everything is so great. This is so easy. And then if you've ever seen me backstage, it's I'm sitting in front of
Don't get in Miss Emily's way.
I'm sitting in front of the fan. I'm like, it's hot back here. Nobody's listening. Nobody's
Where are the dancers?
Line.
What is happening?
So that's where I think sometimes people snap, and then you realize that hidden burnout. Wow, they really don't have it all together, but trying to play that role as long as possible.
Right. Do you ever When does it, as an example, but are there other times where you feel it like certain times of the year, or do you feel like there's some times where it just becomes too much even during your regular day?
Yeah, just a regular like work day. Like all of my whole day might revolve around work, the things that either need to get done, I've prep. And so by the time I get to the kids, it's kind of like the same thing walking in, and I need to be like happy and greeting everybody.
Mhm,
Try to greet everyone who walks through the door. And sometimes that's just not possible.
mhm,
You just can't. And so then you're thinking like, wow, I didn't greet that child or that mom. So now what are they thinking
mhm.
that I'm not keeping up that standard of
Right.
work?
Which is a made up standard because
Yes.
nobody has ever said, Miss Emily has to say hello to me as soon as I walk into the
Yeah.
room. So that's something you've got to work on with accepting that, you don't, that's an expectation you've put on yourself, not that anybody else has put on you.
Yeah.
Now, do you find after you're performing all day, and I mean like not
Hmm.
performing, but the performing we're talking about
Pretending
now,
to be Miss
pretending.
Emily.
Yes, when you're playing the role of Miss Emily, do you find that when you're finally leaving and you're either on your way home or you get home, do you have, and I don't want to call them issues because I'm not like starting any marital
Hmm.
drama for you, but have you found that you like crack or break there or you snap more?
I would say my drive home from work is about 10, 15 minutes, depending on the day. And it's normally in silence.
Mm-hmm.
I normally have the
Mm-hmm.
radio low, or off.
Yep.
And it's just kind of just focusing on letting things go and getting home. And every once in a while, I might sit in my car for a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a really good support system at home. And so it's more of like a comforting, like, okay, I can finally be myself.
Yes.
I don't have to keep up this like perfect, have everything together. I can just finally relax.
Yes. So I feel the same way. And sometimes it's like that coming down. It's almost like an exhaustion. Like I come
Mhm.
down and I'll come home. And especially on days where I've had to be on more than not. Because there's sometimes I can just kind of be in my office or I'm working on tasks and I'm not facing people a lot. But on the days where I am having to perform more than usual, by the time I get home, I feel like it's just kind of like a, ugh.
Mhm.
And I feel like sometimes my husband and my son don't get the best version of me because I've been performing all day. And my husband's even said that sometimes to me, like, I don't care what kind of day you've had. You don't have to treat us this way when you get
Mhm.
home. And it's not intentional. It's just like, I'm so exhausted from performing. And it's hard to kind of get into the turn the switch on and off. I can
Mhm.
turn the switch on and everything at work, but coming off and knowing, like you said, like it's a safe space. I don't have to impress anybody. I don't
Yeah.
have to perform anybody. It's sometimes more challenging for it to be better, I guess. So we've talked about it kind of shows up like the identity fatigue. I've been calling it
Yeah.
exhaustion, some people calling it fatigue. So how do you deal with that identity fatigue kind of day to day?
A big thing is like walking.
Oh,
Me, like
okay.
I just try to like walk, and that's like my goal every day is to walk 30 minutes, whether it's
Mhm.
outside or inside.
30 minutes at one time? Or are you like, well, here's 5 minutes. I'll do another 7 minutes later.
30
And
minutes at one
okay,
time.
okay.
Eh, a day is long, but
Hmm.
you can get through 30 minutes of hopefully like not thinking about
Hmm.
and just kind of letting things go and doing something different. I'm not a big like TV watcher or anything like that. So just 30 minutes to walk on the treadmill, walk outside. If you can do it outside, that's a lot better because there's, fresh air,
Hmm.
trees, like you can distract
Yeah.
yourself a little more.
Touch grass, get out of
Yes.
nature. Now, another question for you. So we talk about the performing and everything being kind of tied to our work. But can you remember a time back, like have you
Mhm.
been performing for longer than just at your job when you look back at your younger days?
I think a lot of it started as like the teacher pet,
Hmm.
the teacher's pet persona. And then that's kind of just how you get stuck with it your whole life, wanting to do better, wanting to be, the good child, the good student. Yeah.
Same. I was going to say, I think high school was really when it became, I don't want to say it became bad for me, but when I'm looking back to see when I really started losing myself to
Mhm.
this person, this character that I played, I think it was a lot in high school because similarly, I remember. teacher's pet. I remember in 7th grade, I was teased incessantly because these older boys called me suck up, like, oh, you're such a suck up. Oh, hey there, suck up. And like, it was, clearly, I'm still affected by it. I mean, it didn't stop me. I continued to be teacher's pet pretty much my entire life, but it was getting that validation and the acceptance, like, oh, I'm good enough. Like, somebody notices me. I'm getting attention. I'm being helpful. Like, oh, I'm still the teacher's pet because who gets to your class and starts handing out the hats? Gosh, I'm still trying to like impress my teacher. My gosh.
It never leaves you.
This is way worse than we thought it was. But no, I got to the point where even I was hiding a lot of my true feelings, and the word was perk they used when they back in the day, like, oh, you're always happy. Like, oh, and so I felt like I had to always be happy. And it's probably in one of my journals somewhere. I remember writing about how frustrated I was that I felt like I always had to be the happy one and I couldn't have a bad day, because if I was upset or crying, like people would lose their minds, like, oh my gosh, Kristen, what's wrong? Like, how can Kristen be upset? And it was really hard for me. So I felt like I had to always be on and happy. And I think it kind of made me not actually find myself or figure out who I was until sometime in my 30s, because I was always trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be.
Yeah.
Or what I thought they wanted me to be.
I would say junior high, high school was like what really drove it home, and probably didn't really realize that until I was like 18 and graduating, and like looking back on my high school years and being like, okay, I should be like reminiscing about like going to basketball games and football games and things like that. It was just like the relationships I built with the teachers were more valuable than the relationships I built with the kids that I went to school with.
That's interesting. And you were with many of them for so much longer than your teachers.
Yes.
Wow. So how did it follow you from there then?
I think a lot of it came from, again, my job. I was very young when I started my job, so I related more with the students that I had than the parents that I had. So I was performing for the parents at that point. And like my adult classes, and like I have it together and I know what I'm doing and I'm prepared, and I wanted everybody to not leave me, like not pull away or pull their kids out or anything like that, because they didn't think I was good enough for it.
Oh my gosh.
But now
the confidence killer all the time, not good enough.
Yeah. And now that I'm a little bit older, I relate more to the parents and to my older students than I do to like my younger students. So I'm seeing that gap now, where it's like they're so into social media, so they're seeing all these trends and everything. So now I feel pressure to keep up with the trends or combat it with, just because these are the things that you're seeing online doesn't mean that every studio or every dancer can do these things.
Oh, so I hadn't thought about it that way.
So before it was more like performing to like the outside parents' perspective or like the adult perspective. And now it's kind of like the kids viewing me as like, I don't know what I'm talking about because on TikTok they saw this, or because
like, why can't we have a dance like this? Why don't we do that? Well, and I think you brought up another point too that's interesting about, it's almost like we use the performance as a kind of imposter syndrome. Like imposter syndrome is kind of like not believing that you're good enough for what you're in. And I think as we're talking, it's almost like we've used it as a way to not necessarily convince ourselves that we belong there, but to convince other people that we belong there. One of my biggest stories that I always go back to is I'd been working, I had a job, I'd gone out of state for a new job, a place that I was definitely qualified for, but I was still younger. And I think a lot of other people were like, oh, she's not going to make it. She's not ready for it. And I felt like I had to prove myself even more. Hey, and I would go around and talk to everybody and see if they need anything. It was just very like, I thought I was like, I don't know, just super friendly, super kind, things that I am, but probably a little bit more. And again, like on stage, like this is Kristen the worker. This is, it's different than who I am. And when I was leaving, they had this picture that everybody kind of signed to leave notes as I was leaving. And So there was this guy at work and he had signed my going away picture and he was like, I really enjoyed working with the role that you play, an Oscar winning performance. Right. So that's how you would think, like, oh my gosh, how could he write that? I thought it was one of the nicest messages anybody had ever sent to me
Mm-hmm.
because he wasn't calling me fake. In a way, I took it more as like he saw me, like somebody could tell that I wasn't that person. And
Yes.
I didn't feel like a fake or a fraud. Like I felt like, good, because I know this version of me is not the real version. This guy who I don't even remember talking, that he acknowledged that, like, hey, I see you. I know this isn't the real you. The real you is in there too. Like, and maybe I'm reading into it too much, but he'd made another comment to me one other time. And it just was like, oh my gosh. And I think it's times like that where you're like, it's okay to just be me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people don't need me to be this version that I think they need me to be, and that it's okay to just be myself. So, are there patterns in certain roles or environments that make this more of a thing for you? Are there other times that, like, are you ever around other people, not at work, where you still feel like you have to be a different version?
Yes. So obviously the big thing is like at work or like work style meetings, anything that like revolves around my job. I go to like career days and everything. Career days are all day long. That's a long day for me to be
Mm-hmm.
on. And with different groups of kids, it's repetitive, it's repeating the same information. But even at like extended family events, like seeing extended family members who don't really know what I do, back that up. A lot of people don't really know the extent of my job. They don't
Mm-hmm.
know all of the background work that goes into it. They think I just teach kids how to dance and it's for fun. They don't see that I run a business, because when you get down to the nitty gritty part of it, I'm a business owner
Mm-hmm.
and that comes first. So when we go to larger family events with people we may not see that often, it goes into like the same thing. How are you doing? Oh, that's so great. And it's more of a like surface level or like meeting new people. And so then you want to be that happy, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
my life is great. Like everything's been just fine.
Yep. Love it.
Yep. Working and, we just got married and we're loving married life.
Yep.
And it's all
Yay.
kind of
No
just,
complaints.
yeah, it's all
Mhm.
just kind of, I don't know. You want to be the happy person, because if somebody comes up to you at the family reunion and they're like, oh, well, how have you been? Well, really bad. Just like you
Mhm.
were saying at work,
Yeah.
nobody wants to talk to that person.
So, not to bring up my hatred of social media again, but I feel like this is a good point to bring it in, that I think part of this is because of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Because social media, you're only supposed to post your highlight reel, all the great things, everything's wonderful. Nobody's posting like, oh, I had a fight with my husband, or
Yeah.
oh, I got a flat tire today, or oh, I don't know how I'm paying my credit card bill. Nobody talks about the stuff that you're not supposed to talk about. So we all create these, for lack of a better term, these fake online personas
Mm-hmm.
too. Because the people that we are showing ourselves to the world on Facebook, Instagram, pick whatever other social media
Yeah.
app you're on, is not necessarily the full version of ourselves either. So I think it's provided another avenue to either extend the current character we play for people or create a different one. Feel like that just kind of exacerbates what we're doing and feeling that we have to be on all the time, because you can't not be on for the world. Thoughts on that?
I like how you brought up create a new one,
Yeah.
because I have found myself with a new group of people that I might not know as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you start listening to like what they're talking about and you're like, okay, well, I can interject here because I know this much about that. So now we're bonding on this level. But it might not be actually something that I am interested in myself or something that I do myself, but you want to be included and you want
Yes.
them to
You
like
want to be
you.
accepted. Yes.
So you want to be part of their, so you'll pick things to say about that.
And then they can start creating their opinions of you based on that too.
Mhm.
And it's so hard. And I don't know what the right balance is, because you want to be open about trying new things and exploring different parts of you. But like, at what point are you changing so much of yourself to fit in with people that you've lost yourself? How do you balance that?
I don't know. I think that is something that like the curtain has to go down at some point. So
Mhm.
whether it's like we talked about earlier, like people like snapping or seeing their true colors, like,
Mhm.
because the more that we've talked about it, it's kind of brought to light how much I do it. Or sometimes I even just think, well, if I can just play Miss Emily for 5 hours today, tomorrow we'll reset and tomorrow morning I'll do
Mhm.
whatever I want. Because I've noticed, like, when we get really deep into like the season and I'm trapped, more into that role,
Mhm.
there's just a time where I'm like longing for that next break. And then on that break, I'm not doing anything dance related or anything work
Right.
related.
To actually be the real you
Hmm.
again. Now, do you have different versions of yourself? So you have Ms. Emily at the studio. You probably have another version of yourself around certain friends or a different version around family. Like, or am I just making you sound like a crazy person? Because I know I have different versions, but do you have different versions of yourself for different people?
I would probably say yes, but they're not like like very different. They're
Mm-hmm.
just slightly different. Like I said, it's more like friend group to friend group around my sister's friends.
Yeah, because that's something I found over the years is depending on which group of people I'm with, I almost feel like they get a different version of
Hmm.
me too. If I'm around the friends that like this, or if I'm around the friends that do that, or like when I was in Florida, a lot of the moms I was friends with were stay at home moms. I was a working mom. So you get to act a little bit differently around them to try to fit in with them. Friends that maybe are more outdoorsy than you are. So you be like them. And I found too that depending on the level of the deepness of the friendship, I'm a different version of myself too. Like if they're just acquaintances or kind of surface level friends, I'll be more closed off. And that's when I usually won't even talk about myself. Like I will just have them talk because I don't want to open up.
Yeah.
Like I've talked about it as like a turtle syndrome. Like if I'm around certain people, like I'll just close up my shell because I
Hmm.
don't want any part of it. Around friends I'm a little bit closer to, then maybe I'll like offer like little parts of my life or I'll share things and kind of open up a little bit. People that I'm like really, really close to, not that many, that I can be who I think is the real version of me.
I have experienced that, and we know a lot of the same people, and all the groups are very different. And I have
Hmm.
noticed that when the both of us are together in certain groups, the way we talk to each other is even different.
Yeah.
Like friend groups, or like if just even one person walks in the room, it's like we see a change in us and how we
Yes.
communicate with each other. I don't hope that other people notice that change between me when I'm in different groups, but there are lots of instances where I'm with the same people,
Hmm.
but I might be acting a little bit different depending on who we're with.
Well, and that's interesting too, because, here we are living in this little small town. There are circles that overlap, and
Hmm.
there's people that I'm friends with in this group. And maybe some of those people are in this group, but then these people are in this one. You're right about all the overlap. And I wonder if some people see me in one group and are like, huh, Kristen's a little bit different than
Hmm.
she was over there. I hadn't thought about it that way. But then, like you said too, I don't know if people notice that kind of thing or if because we're more sensitive to that, if
Hmm.
we're just projecting that they're
They're
noticing
noticing
those
us.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Well, what are some of the consequences of the sustained identity performance on your long term well being? That's a hard
This
one.
is a deep one,
I know.
Kristen.
Like, we're just talking about all the shallow stuff. I'm like, okay, so what's the long term effects of this on you, Emily?
I think personally, I will see myself, I almost stop taking care of myself
Hmm.
and I stop taking care of my space.
Oh.
So I will notice like when my like safe space, like my bedroom is messy or things aren't getting put away in the living room and kitchen or the car, then I'm really like, okay, I've been checked out for a minute
Yeah.
and it's time to kind of pour back into myself.
I think it's the same thing. It's drained, and it's like
Hmm.
you could almost see like if you have this meter where like you're full, and then like you're giving a little bit of yourself to everybody, a little bit more of yourself to
Hmm.
everybody, a little bit more to, and like all of a sudden it's all the way down, and you're like, I just don't have anything left. And like when I hit
Yeah.
the wall, when that happens to me, and it's the craziest thing, like it's so weird. Like, it'll usually be on a weekend because I've been playing the role of Kristen, the boss bitch, like all week long. And then on the weekend, it's like I just sit on the couch and I put YouTube on or I put a show on. I just sit there and like in my head, I will think of all the things I should be doing or could be doing or
Mhm.
need to be doing. I don't have the energy or the motivation to get up. And then I start feeling worse about that because now I'm being lazy and I'm not doing anything and I'm just sitting here. But at the same time, I don't want to do anything else because I have been the person for everybody else. I need to like, it's like a reset time for
Mhm.
me, and it's hard because I love it and I don't love it all at the same time because it is nice to just not do it. I stay in my pajamas. I don't brush my hair. Sometimes don't brush my teeth. Like it just exists. But it's kind of like that reset because like you said, I don't put in the time. I don't, it's not the self-care, and I'm kind of losing myself physically and mentally and
Mhm.
emotionally all the same time because of what I'm giving to other people.
Yeah, I would say like the health and habits part of your life are a lot of times the first thing to go when you're so
Mhm.
drained. So you might be able to keep up with those tasks at home or at work.
Mhm.
And then when you finally decide, okay, today's the day I'm taking care of my home, well, now I don't want to work.
Right. Because it's like you're so focused into like, I'm doing this and I'm going to do this. And then you're all in, and it's like, oh, wait, now I've got to do this too. It's exhausting. Well, can you talk about a time where your high functioning performance masked burnout or stress? Speaking of burnout.
Yes. I had a little bit of a rough end to 2025.
Hmm.
And I don't think that people that I only knew me in the work setting, I don't feel like they were able to tell that something was going on and that something was wrong because day to day, social media posts for the business were still going out,
Hmm.
communication was still going out. It's almost the holidays. So we have all of these parties at work planned and everything. And even people just in the community that, again, just kind of know surface level Emily, they didn't realize like things were happening in our personal life until we shared at the end of the
Hmm.
year what was like going on. The last couple months of 2025 were rough. I kind of shoved those things in until we had a space where work was set up and we were getting ready to go on our break and we were just kind of letting go for a while and then dealt with those in private.
Do you ever, when you're playing the part and kind of masking what's truly going on, do you ever wish that somebody would see through it? Hey, just to make sure you're doing okay.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people will catch like subtle things like maybe feeling more frazzled because I see this in like students who are involved in more than one thing and they're not really taking care of themselves and doing things
Hmm.
that they like because their sport or school is really tough. Like, not upset, but like something is off, but they're still performing at a really good rate. I try to say, like, hey, like, how are you feeling? Is everything okay? And you kind of see like the weight lift off their shoulders.
Hmm.
There's not a whole lot of people in my life that will kind of pick at it.
Yep.
They'll just kind of leave it alone.
Hmm.
But kind of circling back to the workplace that you said you were leaving and somebody did see through that, sometimes that's nice for other
Yeah.
people to recognize, hey, maybe she's not doing so great.
Yeah. And so this is something I've struggled with for years, is kind of that thing of like wanting somebody to realize, like, does anybody see this is just an act? I'm not always this
Mm-hmm.
happy all the time. But at the same time, if somebody were to be like, hey, what's wrong? I would probably, depending on the level of friendship, be like, wrong? Nothing's wrong. Like,
Yeah.
totally fine. No worries. Even though in the back of my head, I'd be like, oh my gosh, somebody noticed. Like, as a
Mm-hmm.
positive. I don't know. I say that I want to portray that, like you said, I've got it all together. I know what I'm doing. Boss, babe. But at the same time, that vulnerability, I think that's important too for people to see that you are real. So again, the struggle is like, why doesn't anybody see? Like, why can't they see through this? Why can't they tell that like I'm hurting, I'm broken, I'm struggling?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I don't open up that easily to people either. So I would get mad at people for not noticing, but then not wanting them to notice or getting mad at them when they ask me. So it's been a struggle with me forever for trying to get that balance of being who they want me to be and letting people in.
Absolutely. I think it's also uncomfortable to talk about your feelings depending on like how close you are with somebody. But just in general, I feel like a lot of people don't want the messy side of things. People of like, hey, can you proofread this? You still don't want them to see your flaws.
Right.
You still don't want to ask for that help. Like, oh, they saw like I'm not perfect. Yeah.
Have you ever had struggles with the fear of failure?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All the time.
So because this is another thing, again, hope listeners like understand that like I really am going through this journey on my own. So I have in my days of sitting on the couch and watching nothing but YouTube, thankfully the algorithm has been trying to help me. And Mark Manson, who wrote the book The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F word or whatever. Good book. His YouTube videos are actually even better than the book. And he had this video about people who are really good students or who learning was easy for actually. I don't think he said struggle, but like, why do they have trouble as adults? Because everything was easy for them. They never had to fail. They didn't learn how to come back from that. Whereas people who did struggle had to learn how to fail and would take more risks and do more things because they weren't afraid of failing. And this became very prominent over the Christmas break when our oven broke. Like, oh my gosh, our oven broke. And my husband just pulls it out from the wall, takes it apart, looks what's going wrong with it, figures it out, does all the thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And he was like, do you think if I was afraid of failing or thought that I couldn't do it, like I wouldn't, like, it's fine. If I fail, we'll just get a new one. Well, we ended up buying a new part, not a new oven, because those are crazy expensive. But he came up a different way where he didn't feel like he had to be perfect. Like, no, you fail, you try again. Like you keep doing it until you get it right. Like that's just what you do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Like if I don't think I'm going to be good at it, like I'm not even going to do it. And that's something I've struggled with because it's like, how many things have I missed out on in my life because I didn't think I was going to be good at it, or I didn't want to fail, or I didn't want people to think I wasn't good at it, or I didn't want people to see me fail, have typos. They're going to know I'm not a great writer or whatever it is. And what are we missing out on by those fears, which I think are very much tied into our performing, because the parts we're performing are not failures.
Yeah. Which is funny that like he mentioned like students who did really well and then like students who maybe had to work a little harder. I had to work my butt off in school to even just scrape by with a B. Like learning was hard for me, reading was hard for me. Like school was never my setting, but like friends and teachers like kept coming back to school for them. Right. Like I wasn't coming back for the material I was learning. Like I learned something, I took a test out of my brain. Moving on to the next subject, like took a test out of my brain. So I think that's like where my work ethic comes from, is like trying to reach that like perfect part and never truly failing. Never have I ever actually failed at, but just always carrying that like, well, if I'm not good enough, well, if I do fail, what will everybody say? What will everybody think?
Right. And who determines what is good enough? Why do we even use that phrase?
I don't know.
Like, good enough for what? Good enough for whom? Where did that even come from in our vocabulary? Like, when did we learn we had to be good enough? Because honestly, good enough means that's good enough. Like, oh, that work product, good enough. You can send it off. Like, to me, good enough isn't necessarily like the
best.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well, good enough. So I don't know why we struggle so hard to want to be, oh, I need to be good enough. Like,
I don't know.
And
that's something where like with the kids that I teach, I try not to use that vocabulary. And we've been talking about that a lot. Actually, one of my students said, well, next year I just don't think I'm going to do this style because I'm not good at it now. I said, you're really good at it. Why would you try? Well, I have to work at it and I'm just not like good at it right off the bat. You're not going to be good at anything right off the bat.
Right.
You have to try at everything throughout your whole life.
Also, that sounds like my son that would say that, because that was his issue with tap. Again, I'm not good at it. Like, well, I love tap dancing. I should tap dance. But I just don't know how that became the thing. I don't know. We should all try to do something that we're not good at, like, and try to learn something new, because
and get better at it.
Yes. And you become better and learn more when you fail because you know what? Okay, so you would take the test and forget about it, but you would probably remember more a question that you missed on a quiz or test than the ones that you got right. If you missed on the quiz, you would study it more so you get it right for the test. Whereas if you got it right, there's no need to go back and remember it again.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be one of our goals for this year, Emily. We should fail. Let's have the goal to fail.
To fail at something.
Yeah.
Well, we thought we were going to fail on our paintings the other night.
Oh, that's right. That's actually a very good. Let's take a quick side journey into. Okay. So Emily and I have been painting together. She has a friend who runs a business who we adore. Shout out to Maddie. We love painting with her. And I've painted. Had you painted before she started doing? So you'd never
that was
painted.
my first with her.
Yeah. So we started. I had painted. I love painting, but we were painting a scene and I thought it was so beautiful. Like I'd been wanting to paint this picture of these mountains and it was like the colors of my life, the pink, blues, and purples that are in like literally everything in my life. So I was so excited about it. I was so excited about that painting. There Emily and I are painting our little picture. And then what happened, Emily?
Well, we get the background done and she's like, we're going to start shading on our mountains.
Shading on our mountains.
And it just went downhill from there.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally downhill. Yes, all just rolled down. And I have told this story to several people now. And I'm like, so she was saying, you gotta go down and swoop. So I'm like, okay, I'm painting, I'm swooping down. And I look over at Emily's and Emily's like, well, I'm going down and swoop. Down and swoop. I'm like, okay. So I got so frustrated. Covered up my entire picture, like in the mountain area. I'm starting over. I'm done. So I go back and I'm like, swooping still doesn't look right. So Maddie comes over and she's like, well, Kristen, why don't you show me how you're doing it? Like just so kindly, right? Why don't you show me how you're doing it? Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm doing it like you said, swooping down, swoop, swoop. And she's like, why don't we try smaller swoops? I'm like, oh, a smaller swoop. Okay. Small swoop, small. Oh.
Feathering.
Huh. That kind of actually looks right. She's like, yeah, maybe I didn't explain that very well. You think, Maddie? Maybe you didn't explain it very well.
But at the end of the night, we
all came together.
We painted our mountains and we took our picture and they didn't look too bad.
Oh, they looked fantastic. When this episode goes live, I'll have to post the picture because, another great life story or life's lesson on that. We'll take another little side tangent. When we were painting, it's like right there, right in front of you. And all you can see are all the imperfections and everything you don't like about it. And it is so hard to get past that. And you don't know, like, it's never going to work out. And then by the end, like everything actually looks good. And then when you look at it farther away, you're like, not a half bad mountain. How often do we do that with ourselves? Whether it's something physical we don't like about ourselves or something, stick with the physical, but like there's something you see that you don't like about yourself and you're just like keep like, I hate this about myself. I see that. Everybody else probably sees how ugly it looks or whatever. And then like from a distance or like literally any other person's opinion, they don't see that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the painting.
Yeah, take a step away. And that's something that, Maddie kept telling us. She's like, just get up from the table and walk away and look at it from over here.
Mm-hmm. I didn't do that. I just kept angrily painting and for the record, it was not Maddie's fault. I don't know. It was like the more frustrated I got, the harder it was for me. I started to hate painting. I love painting. Like it is so peaceful. It is one of my actual stress reliefs. And I was so angry. I'm like, I'm never painting again. I'm the worst painter in the world. Like all that negative self-talk for nothing. It was painting. It was supposed to be something fun. And it was, but like,
But I think that's even like a good point. Circle us back into what we've been talking. The more angry you got, the harder it was to see that it was working.
Right. Because you were like clouded by that. A little bit of a performance, right? I don't want people to see me struggling. I'm just going to repaint it. It's not a big deal. Everything's okay. Meanwhile, I'm like,
yeah.
So, but again, you've got to be, positive on the outside. Like
the
it's
whole time,
fine. Everything's great. Love this painting. Love you, Maddie. Great.
The whole time she was mad at her mountains, she was smiling.
Thank you. Although there was one time I was like, oh my gosh, don't cry. Because like I started getting like, and it was more just that frustrating and like being upset with myself. I'm like, you can't cry at a painting thing, baby. Anyway, where were we? Definitely, we are not the only ones that are feeling like that. If we talk about opening up and taking down the mask for people to see who we really are. And it's crazy that like I do it more with strangers because I feel that my podcast is a place where I wanted to be more vulnerable and share that and show like I'm not perfect. Whatever version of Kristen you may have seen either now or if you knew me in the past may not be who I really am because here I am at 42, almost 42 and a half, and I'm still figuring out who I am because I think I lost so many years of whoever I really was by being all the versions of Kristen for all the different people.
Yeah. And you wanting this podcast to be something like of a safe spot is what made me feel comfortable to come in here and come into your life and into your space, be able to share, my stories and my perspective.
It's been great. I love it.
Perfect.
So I feel like we've talked a lot about this, but how have you been able to step out of the costume in your work and personal life?
Still working on that one. It's like kind of getting to that point where you almost feel yourself breaking out of that character before you're like, I need to step away. So putting boundaries on like phone times, and message times. So I work evening hours. So I typically will answer messages in the morning anytime from I try to do like a work to like 10 a.m. So that way most people have either put their kids on the bus or taken their kids to school before I'm responding to them, or maybe they just got to work too. So putting times in place to where like I'm going to message people from this time to this time, and if they message me outside of that, they'll have to wait until I come back to my phone. And I check my phone right before I start teaching again, taking personal breaks away from like my business in general, like taking that 30-minute walk a day, or just even if I'm not walking, just 30 minutes to myself where I am not interacting with the thing that causes me to go into that character.
I think that's a really good way to do it too. And I love that first of all, love boundaries. As soon as you said boundaries, I'm like, yeah, boundaries. But I'm wondering too, you do that for the business, but do you have any boundaries or I don't know if time constraints is the right word, but for messaging friends too? Like, are there areas where you're like, I don't know, because I have thoughts about it, but I want to see what you say first. You know what I'm getting at,
I know
though,
what
right?
you're getting at because we just talked about it. And I'm taking a page out of your book. So I have always been the person that my phone dings, I answer it. I get an email, I open it. There's no waiting. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm cooking dinner. I'm getting ready to put a load of laundry in. I'm stopping what I'm doing and I'm opening or answering. And after talking with you, Kristen, I decided that my time and what I was doing needs to continue, and I can get to my phone when I have a second.
Yeah, and it's been hard because I feel like I'm almost a slave to like you hear ding and I wear like ding, like, oh, I've got to get it. And yeah, and it can be like we're in the middle of eating dinner or like I'm driving and it's ding and like oh, and then the thing is though is anytime I'd open a message, I would feel like I owed that person a response, especially because text, it's like instant communication. Like I need to write back. And it has been hard for me to break it, but I have been working on it actively. If I am in the middle of something, I shouldn't have to drop everything because somebody texted me. So oftentimes I will either have my phone in another room if like we're doing something, I don't want to be distracted by it, or I will really use the focus times and I will put my phone in like focus mode so I can only get messages from like immediate family. Like I'm not going to be distracted by anybody else. And then it is like telling myself, I do not need to reply right away. This can wait. And it's hard though, because I think it goes back to that meeting other people's expectations. Again, aren't necessarily their expectations, but that we're projecting on like, oh, if I don't reply, they're going to think I don't want to talk to them, I'm too busy for them. And then I don't know if you've done this too, because this is something else I'm trying to break from. If I don't reply for a while and then I do reply, then I'm like, I'm sorry, I was in the middle of doing whatever. How do we do that?
I don't know. That's something else that you have brought to light for me is like, I don't have to say I'm sorry for living my life.
Yes.
I don't have to say I'm sorry for being busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to give you a reason why I didn't answer.
Right. And also, you don't have to give a reason if the answer is no, which
Yeah.
is the other part I'm working on is, somebody saying, oh, do you want to do this? Oh, can you do that? Oh, no, thank you. Appreciate the invite. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I used to have the hardest time because I don't know if you remember, there was like a meme a while ago and it was like, I still want to be invited even though I'm not going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would get invited to stuff and I would feel bad, like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't go. Like, even if I had something else, or like sometimes I would overbook myself because I would feel like I couldn't say no. If I
Yeah.
did say no, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And because of blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares. So I have been working very hard on saying, hey, thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it, but I'm sorry I'm not going to go this time. Please think of me next time because I don't want people to stop inviting me.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm finding that my time is valuable
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have to give my time to everybody else. Just like you said, not responding to text right away. I don't have to go and do all the things or be all the people.
Yeah. When you do have the time to answer, you're more like thoughtful with it. I'm not distracted with whatever I was doing. I'm fully reading and responding to the email or the text that
Right.
somebody sent me.
Yeah, so then they get your undivided attention because if you're texting while somebody else is talking to you, like somebody's not going to get the attention and being fully present with whoever you're with at the time or even the activity. Because if you're watching a movie and somebody texts you now, you're not watching the movie anymore. Like you said, the laundry, which kind of needs to get done. But then if you go away from that for something, it's so hard.
And then if I don't finish a task sometimes because I got distracted, now I'm on to a
Yes.
new task because I'm doing whatever.
ADHD brain.
Yeah, either they've asked me to look at something or go somewhere, so I'm like, now I'm in a totally different room, and my day or my time has totally diverted.
You're like, oh,
day.
there I was doing my laundry, and then I got the text, and after I replied to them, then I decided to work on the dishwasher, and then I got another text, and then I was like, oh, what was I doing? So I went and made the bed, and then like you got all these half-done tasks because
Then
nothing
you're all
actually
over.
got done.
Yeah.
Well, we talked a little bit about it, but I don't know if there's anything else you want to share about it and kind of talking about vulnerability and authenticity and kind of how those play together or how you see them, like just thoughts on it.
I have in my note, like letting people know that you're not invincible.
Ooh.
So we want to have that like perfect nothing can happen to me or like doesn't matter what happens, I can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes we need to tell people like, hey, I do need help with this really quickly. Can you run and do it?
Yeah.
That way you don't reach that breaking point. Because you don't have, even if you're keeping up the perfect persona, people might still think like, oh, well, a little bit sad right now, but they'll be fine tomorrow because they're perfect or they're
That's
invincible.
how they are. She's always happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good that vulnerability plays a part in authenticity because, and I do think when I think of authenticity, I think of that true version of yourself, the one you are on the inside, the one you are when nobody else is around, when you're not performing or trying to be somebody else. That's your authentic self. And I think vulnerability plays into it on you on me, like on the person.
Yeah.
You have to be vulnerable to acknowledge and accept that that's who you are and be okay with this is who I am and kind of being vulnerable with yourself, but then also being vulnerable with other people. Said like it's okay for people to see those cracks in you sometime. It's okay for you to be like, I'm not perfect because nobody can. For you to be that almost makes you more relatable when you're showing people like, hey, look, it's okay to not be perfect.
Yeah. I work with a lot of young girls, like a lot of girls who are just going into the world, like the real world, or these impressionable girls growing up, and even the boys that I have, but I find it more often in the girls that they need somebody to look up to, not perfect, because then they have that. So if they can see like it's okay to be upset, it's okay to have your bad days, but we can still get through them and still get over them. I would much rather be that person for them than be the happy, always perfect person.
I think you're right because having examples that they can look to and kind of model after and not trying to force something, I think that's huge for them to have examples The other thing I think is important for impressionable children is I've heard, when we talk about how when we were younger and teachers' pets and all that, the acceptance, the validation, how important was it for us to hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you." And again, I read that it's important to teach children for them to be proud of themselves and to find that pride within them because you don't want to do it for somebody else. You don't need to do it for somebody else. You need to do it for you. And I think if I'd been taught that more when I was younger, like I'm proud of me because there's been a lot of times
Hmm.
I'm not comfortable with what I am or I don't think I'm good enough. And I think that that's a lesson that I've tried to, I still tell my son like, "Oh, I'm proud of you." But I have tried to turn around and be like, "Oh, you should be so proud of yourself for that." And really kind of build that confidence in people and make them feel that you don't have to do it for somebody else.
Yeah. I have a lot of people ask me if I can write letters to their
Mm-hmm.
children, either for like time
Oh, I
capsules.
love that.
I have a lot of people who ask me just like for little notes and things.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of kids on dance teams. They go to, big competitions. Their coaches will reach out and be like, "Can you write a little letter?"
I
They
love
all
that.
open these letters from all of their loved ones. And that is something I have always tried to do is be like, you should be so proud of the accomplishments that you have achieved
Yes.
because I know I'm proud of you. Like,
Oh, I
you
love
know,
it.
lead it into like, I never try to say, "I hope you're doing great. I hope, like your team does well." I want you to know that you should be so proud of yourself, that you are here because you worked hard and instilling that in them. I say all the time, and many people have heard me say this, and I say it at recital every year. My goal is for your student to be a better human when they leave here, not to be a better dancer or like to be the highest achieving person in the room. They should be a better human going out into the world.
They should. Now, I'm going to turn this on you for just a minute. Those letters that you write those girls or dancers, and you should be so proud of you. What if you talk to yourself that way? And what if that's the letter that you wrote you? How would you talk to yourself differently?
I would definitely have a lot more, I don't know, I would have a lot more like appreciation for myself
Mm-hmm.
and the job that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, a lot of people don't know what I do and they just see it as like it's a play fun job.
Yes.
And if I told myself if I got the chance to say you should be so proud of yourself and just like looking back at the years that I've had, it just hits a little different.
It does.
Yeah.
Because, can we take this one step further? Talking about vulnerability.
Uh,
All right. So think about, when did you start dancing?
I started dancing. I was 3.
So it's been a minute. Let's say, I don't know what 3 or 4-year-old Emily would have said, but let's imagine 8-year-old Emily. If 8-year-old Emily could talk to present day Emily, what would she say to her about what she thinks she's doing?
I'd say she's living her dream.
Mm-hmm. So, what if I could encourage you or other listeners that when you're looking at yourself and you're performing and you're maybe getting near burnout and struggling, what if you turned it around and, I don't know, just thought about what 8-year-old you would say to you now, saying, "Hey, you should be proud of you. Look at everything you did from where 8-year-old you was to here," and put in perspective and be kinder to yourself.
Yeah.
So I think you should do that. And I bring that up. My husband had said something recently to me about, so when I was younger, I wanted to go into broadcast journalism. I wanted to be a reporter. I wanted to be the out in the back to you in the studio, Bob. Like I wanted to do that, or I wanted to be John Stossel and I wanted to get to investigative reporting, or I was going to be Barbara Walters and I was going to be on This Is 2020. Like I had all these big goals. Obviously. I didn't do any of that, just for the record. And my husband was giving me one of his pep talks the other day, also what I call a lecture, but pep talk. And he was like, what if 12-year-old Kristen could see you now? Like, is she going to ask you, like, hey, why aren't you a reporter? Why aren't you doing this? Like, why didn't you do any of the things you wanted to do? Oh, crap. At least you're doing what you're doing. But I
Mhm.
think we all need to take a step back and be like, who were we when we were younger? Because then that was a more vulnerable version of ourselves. And that person probably could have some things to say to us now.
Also, if we think back to that younger self, that was probably the realest of ourselves we ever were, because the world and people's perceptions hadn't shaped us yet.
I would say hardened us. They hadn't
Yeah.
hardened us. We were who we were meant to be.
Yeah.
So I love this. Well, any closing thoughts on performing or wearing a costume and playing a role?
I think if you notice yourself playing a role or stepping into the costume that you choose for that setting, that group of people, I think that you should take a second to share just a small struggle that you're having with somebody in that group.
I would agree.
Just a small one.
Yeah. Just let down your guard a little, back a little, show a little bit of vulnerability, and see how much more it can deepen that relationship and how much more comfortable you can be without having to feel like you have to play a role.
Absolutely.
Well, as always, Emily, this has been so good, and I hope it has been helpful. Someone, I know it's been good for me, so
It's been great for me.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. So I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for spending this time with me. I hope this conversation made you feel a little less alone. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk with you soon.